Hi, I would like to talk about the new functionalities of RhinoNest within Grasshopper. RhinoNest, the main objective is optimize the position and the orientation of the objects for cutting. Okay. Then now we add all the functionality of RhinoNest inside Grasshopper. Let me show you some files to understand how it works. This first file is extremely easy, but I think it's a very good sample to explain you the concept. We execute Grasshopper. And here obviously we have all the tools of Grasshopper: Mesh, Intersect, Xform. And here we have TDM solutions and all the functionality of RhinoNest. Okay, we can directly drag and drop, or we can click directly in the submenu. Okay, then let me explain you the first part of the nesting. We have a control called RhinoNest nesting. Okay, and here we can define all the parameters of the nesting. Okay, we have a lot of options, but just we need to do it a couple of these functionalities. Okay, we don't need to define all the functionalities, but let me show you. First of all, we need to define the geometry that we want to nest. Okay, we select multiple objects. We will select these three curves. Okay, then the other thing that we can define is the size of the sheet. Okay, to define the sheet we have three ways. One is select a curve, the second one is select 2 points, or directly by size. Okay, let me drag and drop this, and we select one curve as a sheet. Okay, great. Then we connect to sheet. Other parameters. We have the distance items to items. Okay, what is the gap that we need between items? The second one is item to sheet. Okay, the margin that we want to find here. The sheet. The time in seconds. Okay, this is the time that we allow RhinoNest Inverse to find the best solution. Okay, it's interesting to know that RhinoNest tried to find a lot of solutions and show us the best. Okay, as more time we define, better will be the solution. Okay, then by default it's 10 seconds. I recommend you increase that, but now for the demo I think it's enough. And we have other parameters. Okay, now just we double click to do the nesting. Okay, we have the nesting. As you can see, automatically create the ID. Okay, the ID is a curve. Okay, and the result is a curve. This is really good if we want to use a CNC machine or a laser or other cutter machine. Okay, is a curve. Then let me explain you other options that we have. We have the freedom. Okay, let me show you this control, object freedom. We connect here, and we can define what is the freedom that we allow to rotate this object. Okay, let me show you. We can fix it 180, okay, 90, 60, okay, or free. We can select free. 90 is okay. Great. Then we double click. Other thing is we can define the criteria of the nesting. Okay, we can drag and drop this control. Okay, and connect here, and we have the option to define the global parameters of the nesting. Okay, let me show you here. Okay, we have minimum X, minimum perimeter, minimum spacer, okay, minimum loss regions. We have a lot of functionalities. Okay, then we can modify just clicking here. Okay, for example, if we select center, and we will select free, with double click, now start to do the nesting from the center. Okay, I think it's really easy to use. Okay, let me explain you the results. The results that we have here is the nesting geometry. We have a log, okay, to show if the nesting is successful or we have any problem. This is unused objects. It means if we define an object bigger than the sheet, automatically this object obviously cannot be nested and go directly to this list. Okay, then we can, for example, create other nesting with other size of sheets. Okay, then we can say we can do the nesting of all the objects in these sheets. After that, if the objects are bigger than the sheet, we can select and define other sheet. Okay, great. Here we have the sheet results, okay, the geometry of the new sheet. In this case, yes, we have one. In other samples, we will see that we will have more than one. And the IDs are the curves, okay, of the numbers. Okay, and that's it. Let me show you other sample. We execute Grasshopper, and we drag and drop the nesting control. In geometry, we select all this geometry, and sheet, we connect and we select this sheet. Okay, in this case, RhinoNest will detect that it's not possible to place all the objects in one sheet. For this reason, RhinoNest will create more than one. Okay, then we double click, and here we have the result. Okay, in this case, as you can see, we have the ID. By default is 1 millimeter. Okay, but we can modify this text size here. Okay, great. Now our course, just remember one thing. Now in RhinoNest for Grasshopper, we can nesting all the kind of objects. Okay, for example, let me define this sheet, and we can select curves, solid surface, and meshes. Okay, we double click, and here we have the result. Okay, let me show you in the perspective view. Okay, in the case of the 3D models, the ID goes to the maximum of the bounding box of the object. Great. Let me show you other sample. Now in this case we want to do the nesting of the lamp, but the objects are not on the C-plane. Okay, then we need to place correctly in the C-plane. How we can do that? We have a tool called Remap. It's exactly the same as in RhinoNest. We can select the objects and automatically place the objects on plane. Okay, just analyze what is the bigger flat area to do it. Okay, and then we can get these objects and do the nesting directly from the solids. We connect here, we select the sheet and double click. Great. Here we have our nesting. Obviously we can bake, and here we have a remap and a nesting from 3D objects in seconds. Okay, it's really fast inside Grasshopper. I think the most interesting thing is you can create this lamp, for example, parametrically inside Grasshopper. Then you can combine several lamps and automatically create a remap and the nesting. Okay. Great. Let me show you other sample. I want to show you the remap, but in this case, okay, in this case we have, I think it's 200, near 200, no, 115 solids. Okay, then we can select this geometry. Voila. Now, as you can see, we have the remap of all the objects, and then we can use these objects to do the nesting. Okay. Great. Now we have the nesting. We bake it. And voila. Great. Let me show you one sample about a slice. Okay. We have this simple object. Okay. And we want to slice it and create the nesting. Then we execute Grasshopper, new file, and we have a functionality to slice 3D. Then we can select a geometry. We can define the distance between a slice. Then we come to parameters. We get a slider. We can define directly here. Okay. We will edit integers and 50. Okay. Then we connect here, and the last thing is define the direction plane. Okay. Then we set one plane. We can click directly here. Okay, and we have the slice. Let me move it to show you. Xform. We will move this geometry in this direction. Okay. Okay, and as you can see, we can modify the thickness. Okay. Then we can use remap. Okay. And we can create a rectangle to create the sheet, or we will use this other way to create a sheet from 2 points. Okay, one point, this point, and the second point here. Great. Then we come to nesting. We select the geometry, the sheet, the freedom fixed is okay. Okay, and double click. Okay. Then remember that you can define the ID font size. Okay. And then okay, you have all the results with the IDs. Okay, Also, we have other functionalities to create directly a text in simple stroke shape. Okay, we can define a text directly in a geometry. Let me show you. We can create any geometry and define a text. The size of the font 20. Okay. Then also we have the option to define a prefix and a suffix. Then we can define RhinoNest. Okay. And we define project 1. Okay. This tool apply the same text to all the geometry. Okay. We can define using an object, a 3D object or a curve, or okay. Or we have the same functionality, but instead to define a geometry, we can define directly using a plane. Okay. Then let me show you. If we create a curve, okay, let me delete that. We select a curve. Great. Then we can use these frames. Okay. We can define the size. By default is 1 millimeter. I think it's okay in this case, or maybe bigger. And the text RhinoNest. Okay. And as you can see, okay, in this case the text is not flipped, it's oriented using the frame. Okay, and in this case it's a curve and the frame is in this position, but if we want we can rotate the frame and that's it. Okay, great. And the last thing is we can list the objects, okay, before to do the nesting or for other functionality, but we have the option to list. Okay, we select the objects, we define the size 5. Okay, in this case we do the window. Okay, for that reason we have this numeration, but now as you can see is increasing the number. Okay, we can define a prefix also. Okay, and a suffix, but is increasing the number each time. Okay, well, that's all about RhinoNest within Grasshopper. Thanks for watching.